second half of our Unit 9 as we scheduled, and we hope to do that very early. I've had to cancel a lot of things to give you that space, so you don't want to take it for granted at all. Okay, let's do the best out of it, and then we can all go attend to very important matters. The first thing is to help you quickly remember what we did yesterday when we were making up the first missed session. We understood that we diagnose the possible causes of things, and sometimes our diagnoses are not appropriate because of how we are thinking around it. Okay, and when we are trying to find out what could be the possible cause of an effect, we sometimes commit fallacies. We sometimes assume that there is a necessary cause when in fact it was just a sufficient condition that we are pointing a finger at. So I gave you some instances yesterday in my bid to help you understand the different connotations of the word cause. That sometimes when people talk of the cause of something, they actually have in mind proximity. What was the most immediate event that preceded the effect? What happened just before the thing that we are diagnosing? So if someone just fell down and broke the leg, someone's leg is broken, and if Josephine asked, "Oh, what caused Nancy's broken leg?" Maybe Nasir will say that, "Oh, she slipped." That would be a proximate cause that Nasir is pointing to. Nasir is pointing to. Okay, it is what immediately happened before the broken leg is that she fell or she slipped. Okay, but we may also be interested in the agency behind the fall, okay, or behind the broken leg. And so someone will say, what caused a broken leg? So, oh, is it not the cleaner? The cleaner left the water there. He didn't clean it, wipe it off. And that is what has caused the broken leg. That would mean that a person is addressing an agental cause. And then we can also think, of course, as necessity, a condition that must be present before the effect can come, and without which the effect cannot come. Okay, that's necessity. I use the football scenario to show you that when the full circumference of the ball enters the net, then it is only then that you can say that a goal has been scored in football. And therefore, when you hear that a goal has been scored too, you can confidently presume that then the full circumference of the ball has crossed the goal line. Okay, so necessity means a necessary condition is that condition that must, the word is must be present before the effect can come. We saw that also. Then we went to sufficient condition. We said when we talk of cause as sufficiency, it means that that event, that antecedent condition, if present, will yield the effect. But its absence doesn't mean the effect cannot come through another means. Okay. Another thing can cause that effect. And so this one that caused it would then qualify as what? A sufficient condition. Like if you brought, I gave you those examples, so I just want to mop up with that and then we move on. If you brought mango juice on the table without wiping it well, it will be a sufficient condition to generate houseflies in your hall, no matter how clean the place is. If you left mango juice droplets on the table, or the baby's pampers were left used ones were left at place, it could bring flies as well. And then if you didn't dry your, apologies, smelly shoe because you went jumping around and then you stepped into the mud and it got wet or stuff like that, or stepped into some things, you left it in the room, it's also sufficient to generate the effect of what? Flies in the room. Therefore, what is the import for your discipline? Certain effects may come to you. You may see something, heart attack. You just don't tell the patient, for example, that you see you've gone eating the salt again. Because eating salt excessively is sufficient for the effect of maybe a contraction of the heart or increased blood pressure or stuff like that. It is not a necessity. Bad news communicated wrongly could also lead to what? An increase in the pressure of a person. And even some medications because of the composition, could increase the hypersensitivity of a person, and so on and so forth. Therefore, these are all sufficient. They are not necessary. As a physician or a medical folk, you must be conscious of that before you go diagnosing things and thinking that whichever effect you see necessarily, arose from something. It could be the slap that initiated the fight in the first place, but not this, the slap that caused the person's, uh, what's the name of this thing? Convulsion. Yes, the two children were fighting at school. One hit the other, one hit the one, and then the other one fell down and went blackout. Okay, you want to be careful with your diagnosis. Don't be in a rush. Yes, the cause may be the proximate condition. The slap may be the proximate condition, but it might not necessarily be the necessary conditions. So we saw that also. Then we saw individually necessary, jointly sufficient, and I use the food, water, oxygen thing that human beings necessarily need, each one of them. And yet when you put all together, they become sufficient for the effect. Okay. I call that one individually necessary, jointly sufficient condition. That's another way of thinking of the word cause. So sometimes when we say what caused it, we have that in mind, not just the proximity or the necessity or sufficiency. Finally, the probabilistic cause. The name tells you what it is, what probably could have caused the effect. We did all that yesterday, so we can quickly move on to J.S. Mill's methods of causal reasoning. So J.S. Mill, a fine thinker, a philosophical philosopher, he philosophizes on science and its methods. Okay. He proposes. Aaron, what's the question? Please, your hand is up.
Yeah,
Okay.
madam, please. Madam,
Was it an error?
no, madam, please. I want to ask a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, madam, please. I was asking if there could be several causes for a particular
Yes,
effect.
yes, yes, there could be. The slides I shared with you said so. I'm trying to be as snappy as I can because I have to attend another session, and I suppose you people also have an IA tomorrow. But look at the down part. So I'm expecting that the nitty gritties you will do the job yourself. If you look on my screen currently, you see the what is highlighted in red tells you, note that so far as we are dealing with empirical matters, if the thing has to do with an evidence that is empirical, observation based, which is what you do, eh,
Okay.
no effects can lay claim to only one single cause. No
Okay, madam, I
effect.
didn't see it. That's why.
Okay, but it's in your slide, so look at it closely. Okay,
Okay.
whenever one thing happens, oftentimes a multiplicity of causes, and we want you to be minded that ultimately you may blame one of them because it is outspoken, but it is always a chain of events. I would have given a lot of dramatic scenarios. So, for example, you gave a call to grandma, and then it wasn't pleasant news. So grandma said, "Oh, oh, oh," oh," and then grandma was standing by the fridge, and then she falls down, and she's in a very bad state. Then the house girl who is at home because mommy had to rush out to attend to an emergency at the hospital, and her car is not working, so she had to leave early because if her car was working, then she could have stayed a bit later to take care of all the stuff at home before leaving. But she doesn't have her car working because Aaron took it out the night before for matriculation party, and, and boys, dismantled the car. So, mommy, I'm trying to give you a chain of events so that when we start allocating, courses, or we try to accuse that you and I and all of us can diagnose. Okay, so mommy had to leave early than usual, and because she had to leave early, she didn't wait to ensure that grandma had had her breakfast and taken her, heart medication, ifedipine, codipine, whatever it is, to manage it well. House girl doesn't know how to do resuscitation. Now she picks the phone call when grandma is in a state like that to call for an emergency. And then the network will say, the number you have called of that cannot be reached at this moment. That's what they say. Oh, God. The number you have dialed cannot be reached at this moment. That is their feedback. When the phone hasn't gone bad, then they finally get through to the uh, what's their name? Ambulance. The ambulance folks. When the ambulance is coming, it turns out that there is traffic on the way because you and I are selling our banana and our whatever at the market there on the road. I'm distracted. Apologies. On the road there. So and our indisciplined self, we have blocked the traffic on the path there, so we couldn't. The emergency couldn't work out. Now, I could go on and on and on. I just want to show you that if you asked that what caused, in case, God forbid, finally Gamma passes, we don't want her to pass, but suppose that happens. The question will be, suppose I said, what or who caused the death of Grandma? It's multifaceted. If that person who overdrank yesterday didn't get a hangover that almost choked him to death, so they rushed him to mommy's clinic. If he didn't do that, then mommy wouldn't have had to rush out without attending to her morning regular duties of taking care of grandma and the family, what have you. That is one. Yet, if Aaron too had not moved away with grandma's, excuse me, with mommy's car, messed up with it, if the school hadn't done a matriculation party, maybe the Aaron wouldn't have attended. Then boys would go and, you know, have fun with the car. If mommy too had woken up a bit earlier, knowing that she would have to leave earlier than her regular routine, then she would have still served grandma her breakfast, giving her her medication. So even when the bad news came, it would have been managed well. If grandma, knowing her condition, wouldn't have picked the call at all when a call is coming from that person who is a relative taking care of the sick son or something, when she's calling, you don't pick it if you know you have a heart condition. Someone else can pick it. Listen to what the issue is and then communicate to me. The person who was calling should have been mindful that if the person is dead, he's dead. There's nothing you can do. So have to communicate it to her before you register more debt. So she's also to blame. If the house girl had been trained, the nation had civic education running all the time on TV, showing how to resuscitate someone. If there's fire outbreak, this is how you do it. If there's and it was part of our advert, national advert that every TV station is required to incorporate into their news item as a social responsibility thing, something initiated by government. Then people would have known, no matter their educational level, they will know that, oh, if someone falls down immediately, this is how you resuscitate the person below or do the heart cardiac something. You see the multiplicity of someone will even say if God had not given birth to. If Gamma wasn't born, then she wouldn't have died. Now, Aaron, just to answer, you see how intricate it is. I could have gone on and on and on and on. So always, when there is an effect, we'll have a multiplicity, of course, and that is your ability. It's a critical thing. Your mind has to be open to possibilities like that. That is how you solve problems by the help of God. You see that. So the person is a thief, it has been caught, or the person is a robber, he or she has been rushed to your hospital, they are taking care of him. Yes, in your diagnosis, you are trying to not only find out, uh, uh, you know, and present him for retribution, for him to be sanctioned. You are trying to also diagnose what could possibly be accountable for this behavior. Some may be social, some may be just, recalcitrant behavior, lack of control. Some may be real economic issues. And then we can have a health condition as well. It might be a kleptomaniac. How did a kleptomania evolve at all? And how did it even gain ground? These are things that you must look out for, depending on your place of emphasis, or you may recommend that for the person after you do your part that you feel is physiology. You give the medication, you give the first aid, you calm the person down. But because you have critical thinking skills, you can apply that. Even in your administering of medication, you can tell the person, don't worry now, let's get you well first. You don't think you want to hurt people like that, you see? because you don't like it now that you're ahead. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm working on the person's psyche so that his reaction could be, my friend, I didn't tell anybody to bring me here. Then you know that it is a more fundamental issue than I am hungry and I'm going to steal. Okay, so we have to diagnose causes well. Very important, so we can be able to, offer alternatives within human ability. Now, if you saw that, then we are good to go. Your friend asked that question. That's why I elaborated. We are going to look at J.S. Mills's 4 methods that he proposes we should use if we want to diagnose causes. Diagnose means we want to check what could possibly. The thing is a matter of possibility, never a certainty. Okay. The methods are agreement, difference, joint method of agreement and difference, and concomitant variation. Look on my screen now. Look at the effect. These are 4 people who have had meals, different meals, that is, with the exception of only one meal or one part of the meal that is common to all of them. Excuse me, common to all the 4 folks. So let's presume that this is a Miles. Who else? This is Pella, Maha, Asher, and Hania. We have gone out and then we went to have our meals. People did their various combinations. I suspect Asher is the one that took the porridge because he's fasting. See, so he took it when he broke his fast. Please mute your thing, sir. Mute it, okay? Okay. So look at the meals very well. I'm showing you the method of agreement. That's all we'll move. We should be done in no time. But we'll understand it. It will not be a rush. Okay. Now, all of them took different meals, except one thing that agrees in all the meals. Look on my screen and tell me what agrees in all the meals, the antecedent meals that were taking place. Look at the meals. What agrees there? I want a chorus answer if you can.
Cream. Cream.
Cream. Very
Cream.
good. Very good. So the effect to, thank you. Then and the effect to agrees. Look at the effect. They are all running. Running not with your legs, of course. The other kind of running. Now that then is your first point of call as a physician. The children were brought from the school. They said there's food poisoning, supposedly, because they are all complaining of stomach. You want to diagnose and find out what could be the possible. Check my language. I'm not saying you want to prove what I got. So you want to diagnose to see what could possibly be the reason for the running. So you do what we had. What did you eat? Oh, mommy, this one came from his home with his food. This one also came from his home. Okay. But then as you keep asking the questions, of course, after your first aid, you notice that all the children you have interviewed, the 4 of them who were rushed to your outlet there. It turns out that they all ate the ice cream that the canteen sells, and they took it before assembly. So others are yet to get some. But this is what agrees. That is why we have good reason by the method of agreement to suspect the ice cream. We suspect it. We haven't proven anything. It might be the change of environment because they all came from a home that drinks from another source of water. And then they came to school. It could be anything. But given our human incapacities, and given that this is an inductive reasoning, what we can, within our human abilities, diagnose is what? A suspicion about the ice cream. And that is the method of agreement. So the effect is common, and then the antecedent condition has something common to them all. Now look at the method of difference on your screen. For the method of difference, see the effect. The effect is different. Whereas one is running, the other one is not running. So it means something is different in the 2 scenarios. That is why the effects are different. So we are going to find out what we should suspect as the cause. It's a suspicion. I will repeat it again. What we should suspect. I don't want someone to say, but doc, it could have been that maybe the grandma put poison in it. I said what we can suspect is what the facts tell us, knowing very well that it may not be the case. But what else should we go and suspect? Okay. So it is what we are able to, that's what your discipline does. That is why you say take the medication. If after 2 days you don't see any change, stop taking it and see your physician. Why? It's a trial look. You're trying to see if it will work. That is what medicine is. It's informed trial. That's all. There is nothing about it being certain. If not, we wouldn't die. But we do die. Even when we were on all the medication, sometimes we put a person on this antibiotic. After a while, we do a shift. You say, oh, no, let's try this one. Do you know why? We are hoping that it will work. And so if you got it, now look at the method of difference. They ate the same things. Look at antecedent conditions, except one thing. One thing is not common to the two of them. And so the effect is not common. If you had this data after your interrogation, your consulting room with your patient, what will you suspect to be the cause of the running? I want a chorus answer again.
Mango.
Mango.
The mango.
Mango.
Yes. And if I asked you why, then you don't say, oh, mango, doc, a lot of people react to mango. So I think that it is, oh, no, it's not. It's not a lot of people react to anything. It is by the method of difference. That is what is different in the meal. That's all. The evidence available to you. This is what is different. Since they took the same combinations and something is different from it, then the effect is also different. You have good reason to believe the likelihood that this has to do with the mango. Very good. That's the method of difference. Okay. Now the joint method of agreement and difference combines the two. Very simple. That will be done shortly. Look at it is as if you're doing the method of difference. Look closely. But what makes it a joint method is the starting point. Look, it is persons 1 to 10, a collection of people. So a group, all those who took mango are running. And all those who did not take mango are not running. That is what makes it a joint method. So when we went for a couples retreat or something, and then the ladies were camped at one place for one of the sessions, and the gentlemen were also camped at another place. But because they were ladies, they brought them fruit juice. After they all took the main meal, they brought fruit juice and it was mango. But then the mango was finished. So for the gentleman's place, there was nothing to give them really. There wasn't mango. So some went for fufu, some went to take orange, some jumped, some did this because they are brothers, they will manage, something like that. They did not take anything mango. I'm talking about the collective gentlemen, see the group. So no mango. But amongst the ladies, everyone had mango. Now, when you compare the two, so within ladies, it agrees that wherever mango was found, ramen was also found. That is what we have registered there like that. And then when you compare group, mango versus group non-mango, whoever didn't take mango also didn't have ramen. Then we have a stronger ground to suspect mango. Okay, this is stronger than the method of difference, where it was just one person versus another, or a few versus another. You don't have strong ground. But here, these are different people from different places who have gathered. They all took the same meal. But in addition to that, some substantive number of people, it can be a wedding reception. We'll say table 1, 6, 7, 12, and 9. They came first because they have the families of the bride and the groom. So they were served first. And it turns out that all those who came first, when we called and we dished the salad from that specific source. When we finished the event, those people, all of them were looking for tissue to use the washroom. We were taking the washroom like paracetamol 2-3 times daily, messing up the wedding. Please, I want tiro, please, tiro, tissue, tiro. Tables, one, whoever who came first, all of them, because they were served from a certain source. But The next sauce that came, still the salad, you see, but the next sauce that was dished, when the other set of people came, they didn't get it. You see that you will suspect the spoon or whoever it is that was dishing it into that sauce because it is the same meal, but specific number of people got a certain effect. A specific number did not get it. That is the joint method of agreement and difference at play. If we had time, I would have given you several instances from criminology to writing a report. Sometimes your medical report that you write for the police can help them do their work. And you wouldn't have even given anybody away. You would just have asked the pertinent questions and applied these principles and skills and techniques in a way that aids the work of the police. Okay, so that is the joint method. It is just like the method of difference, except that you are dealing with a collection, a collective, a group of people for and a group of people against. The last one is the method, the concomitant variation method. Where is the thing? Concomitant variation. Big word, nothing much. You vary the suspected cause. Now that we suspect mango, we vary it. Vary means you change it. So either you add a little or you reduce it to see if it will lead to a consequent addition or reduction of the effect. And that's all. Then you have established a causal connection. Okay. So the person comes to your hospital about 3 times in a week. She's having asthmatic attacks. Okay, which is unlike her. And so you ask, what have you changed in your cosmetics, for example? Because that's what you use often. Or do you have a new flower or something in your room? Is your roommate using a certain perfume? Or have you changed your toiletries or something? Because we know asthma oftentimes is instigated by strong scents or you react to scents. So we want to see what it is. Then maybe your patient says, well, I don't think I've done any change of, but except with the mosquito repellent I use now because we are going to write an IA tomorrow and we are studying. So we stay late the whole of this week. We have been staying late in the gardens and because of the mosquito bites, I put on repellent now. We have, Anya, why are you laughing at me? So we have a suspicion. Now, so a professional physician can say, let's check to establish whether this is not a mere coincidence, but that there is a causal connection. You see that? Let's check. How do we do it? I'm going to put you under, what's the expression? Our monitor. You have a medical, you know, Lexus for that. You say, I want to, what's the expression? People. I don't want to say surveillance. Surveillance is when we are checking something wrong going on. But I want to observe. That's the word, observation. So we will admit you, but we are going to smear our suspected mosquito repellent on your body. Bam, extra, extra, extra. The whole container will spread on you to see how you react, just to help us know whether that is what is causing or that is what is likely causing the effect we are seeing. Okay, but this time under monitoring. And so imagine we put it on, we spread and as soon as we even opened it, and we started smearing and smearing, lady is trying to look all fine until about 20, 30 minutes afterwards. She can't even breathe at all. Then we clean it and then we do all the intermittent things and allow it to simmer. And then we leave it here without that repellent for some few days. And she doesn't have a reaction or an attack. Now that tells us that's what we have just done is concomitant variation, nothing much. Like when you see allergy, something that you suspect just came on your skin because you put on some or you use that new soap. And before long, part of your skin has some rashes. Or you went to eat some seafood or something that you don't often eat. Then you get some rashes on your skin at the back of your elbow thereabout. You say, how did this come here? This morning wasn't here. What have I eaten today? Or what have I done? Did I walk in the grass or I stayed blah blah blah? They say, okay, maybe what I've eaten is an oyster. I think I took some of the oyster that the people were selling today. I took a bite. Then mommy says, maybe you are reacting to that. Okay. How do we confirm whether there is an iota of connection between that? We keep you indoors and then go and get the oyster plenty. That's how science thrives. So we this time we get a bowl full of it and give it to you for you to eat it whilst watching a Netflix movie. Then we see by close of day or maybe the next day, your whole skin is doped with that rash. Big versions of it. The whole family say, "Woo, that is it." She doesn't like it. Her system reacts to that. It's concomitant variation. It just varied the suspected cause to see if it will yield a suspected change in the effect. So a variation, a varying that is concomitant, an accompanying variation. That's all. That's the last method J.S. Mills proposes. And he says if we use those, then we should be able to at least inductively point out what could possibly be the cause of an effect. I pause for questions. Any questions? This is our last slide. So any question? Very good. Daniel, ask your question, please. Please, you are muted, so you will have to unmute first. Then I'll take Aaron afterwards.
Okay,
Oh
madam.
dear. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, madam, I wanted to, I researched about the concomitant and the concomitant
Yes.
variation.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
said, for example, consider a study examining the relationship between the study time and exam scores.
Mhm.
They said, if students who spend more time studying tends to achieve higher exam scores, and students who spend less time studying tends to achieve lower exam scores, then there is concomitant variation between study time and exam scores. So
Yes,
I
please.
wanted to know.
I agree with you 100%. So someone may run and do a research and realize that all the students that his research, a good sample, blah blah blah, he studied, they engage content, and that one I can tell you, it's not magic, it's not spiritual. God will not come and write the example. You have to learn the thing. If you don't
Yes,
learn,
madam.
you say I'm the head, not the tail, but you are getting F. And God is asking and you give it to bring him to bolo to drink. Even mind you have to learn. Okay. So if there is a correlation, a concomitant one, maybe not a correlation, the word is not correlation, a concomitant, an accompanying variation that as soon as I varied how even the footballers, those who like sports, when you train consistently, it helps you to perform better relatively. See, and then when you stop training to for a while, even driving, if you stop driving for a while, when you pick the car again, sometimes it becomes jittery a little. So there is a varying. So when you vary downwards, sometimes it affects the effect, and that's a good example, Daniel. Thank you. Let me take you on now.
Yeah, madam, please. I also wanted to give an example.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's when you, as a person, if you exercise, it's known that as you exercise, there is an increase in your heart rate. And
Mhm.
if you don't exercise, your heart rate decreases. So that means that there is a there is a concomitant variation relationship between between
Exactly.
your heart rate and
Exactly.
exercise.
I think we find
Exactly.
difficulty in mentioning this.
Don't worry. You can call your friends Conco. Then the other one is mutant. And after the exam, then you forget it. Okay. Good job. So those are
Madam, I
prime
think they
instances.
have another name
Mhm.
for it. Some
Which
people
one is
say
that?
covariation. Can you say
Yes, there are a lot
covariation?
of yeah. Even because they don't want to use the concomitant. It's the way we say COVID-19 when the full meaning is or
Oh, okay.
paracetamol. When we say para. So it's
Yeah.
co-variation, concomitant in the short co. But I was going to tell you something else. What was it? Common thread. The method of agreement is also called common thread method. I can't bore you with all the names. What is
Okay.
common? The thread that is running through the antecedent conditions, common to all of them. So that's another name for it. The method of difference, some call it the method of relevant difference, because the difference must be a difference that is relevant to the discussion, not difference like when all the gentlemen came, one of them was wearing belt and the other was not wearing belt. What has it got to do with your heartbeat? So it has to be relevant difference. But those are just nitty gritties that we can overlook. If you know the main idea, you can apply them in your everyday, medical practice. Okay, all right, let's finish up. So the last set, we go to fallacies associated with cause and effect reasoning. And so I think when we started yesterday, I gave you one or two of them. If I didn't, I'll go through them again. I don't want to presume that I did. So look on your screen. When you think of cause in terms of proximity, I think we did. When you say what caused something, just refers to what came before the effect. That is likely going to lead to the fallacy that we call post hoc ergo propter hoc. I think we did it. One of you read it for, if I'm not mistaken, it was Tanya or am I correct? Yeah, yesterday someone read it. Okay, so post hoc ergo propter hoc is just saying that just because something happened before another, you claim that the one that happened before caused the one that happened after. That is very problematic. So I showed you how baby Ella, as soon as baby Ella, as soon as I spanked baby Ella's bottom, boom, then Asawajan scored a goal. Therefore, I conclude that it is my spanking her bottom that made Asamoah score the goal. Totally not connected. There is no causal connection. You see, it is just a matter of proximity. One happened before the other. So people are likely going to think of cause and effect in this way. And if they do that, that is fallacious. You have to make sure there is a causal connection, not just a temporality. Temporality meaning time, not just because one happened before the other. So you claim that it caused it. That's the first fallacy you see on your screen. Post hoc, ergo propter hoc. You should be able to explain it. You should be able to create one. You should be able to contextualize an instance of that. When I say contextual, place it in a context, medical setting, legal setting, political setting, international relations setting. As soon as Russia's Putin was put into power again, they bombed something like that. They say so. It is his coming into office that caused the thing. You have to be able to contextually create scenarios that show post hoc, ergo propter hoc. Very good. The next one is, look at your screen, confusing cause with effect. That's one of the fallacies that are very funny. The cause is supposed to be the mother. The effect is supposed to be the baby. It is cause that brings about effect. Okay. The effect doesn't bring about cause. It's cause that gives birth to effect. So if someone reasons in a way that makes it look as if it is rather the effect that is bringing about the cause, we will tell the person you are confusing the cause with the effect. You are medical folks, so let's use an example with cholera. When you get the cholera, then it makes you, it makes you vomit and poo. So which one is the cause? The cholera infection. Which one is the effect? The vomiting and the pooing. Now, suppose someone argues this way. Doc, me, I don't want to get cholera, so I am not going to vomit or poo for the rest of my life. That confuses the cause with the effect. If you like, don't poo and don't vomit for the rest of your life. You can still get cholera. Because it is the getting of cholera that brings about pooing and vomiting, and not the pooing and vomiting that brings about cholera. Okay. So this person has confused the cause with effect. And that's what you're seeing on my screen with the COVID. Can I have one of you read it? I want to take a sip of water. We have three more, then we are done. Very quickly, please raise your hand. Thank you. So I will ask Dania. Dania, please read for me the example you see on the screen for confusing cause with effect.
Yes, please. Examples of causal fallacies. Confusing cause with effect. I noticed that people infected with COVID-19 sneeze and cough a lot. So I am not going to cough or sneeze because I don't want to catch the COVID-19 infection.
Very good. Everyone can see what has happened, right? The folks are confusing. The person speaking is confusing the cause with the effect. Very good. Do you have any question? If you have a question, please unmute and ask me now. Don't worry, just unmute and ask. I'll take it. Okay. Then we move on to the third one. That one. So you know post hoc, ego propter hoc. You know confusing cause with effect. There's a third one. You commit a fallacy when you confuse a correlation to mean that there is a causal connection. Correlation means two things happening at the same time frequently. They correlate. It's not one of, and it's not one after the other, like proximate cause. No. This one, the two events happen at the same time frequently. You see that? So there's frequency. So that's why you are thinking of the correlation as if it is a causal connection, as if it is one that is causing the other. Anytime I am coming to family health medical school campus to come and teach, the gate man, no, the kebab seller will be grilling kebabs. This woman wants kebab to eat, yes. Look, anytime I am entering that lecture hall there to come and teach, the kebab gentleman will be grilling the kebab. So if I come there 12 times a semester to come and teach the class, any time, so all the 12 times I have come there, whilst I am entering to teach, the kebab griller will be grilling. Therefore, I conclude that it is my coming there that makes the kebab seller grill his kebab. Funny, right? Yes, because this is a correlation. He's doing his own thing, and I'm also doing my own thing. It just happens that coincidentally, the two coincide. There is no cause and effect connection. We want to prompt that sometimes things seem to be happening at the same time, and so may suggest to you that one is causing the other. There might not be any causal connection whatsoever. It might just be a correlation, and you have to know that as a critical mind. The so let's read one example of that I put in the slides. Hala can help me with that. Let me project confusing a correlation, yeah, for causal connection. Please read. Hala. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah, down there, the second one, please. Can anyone see? Hala, can you see it?
Yes,
Can,
yes, madam.
please go ahead.
Okay. Confusing correlation for causal connections. Since since this semester's lectures began, whenever Dr. Miles is ending her lecture, the clock strikes 1 p.m. She must be powerful because she moves even the clock.
you know, so that's a typical example of confusing a correlation for a causal connection. Say, hey, the woman Charlie, the anointing on her life is not a joke. I think, hey, even when she's ending the class, she starts saying, okay, all the best, guys. I wish you well. No, the clock will say grind. I think she's so powerful. I beg, this power there, I don't have it's coincidence. The two happen at the same time, and it is frequent. No two ways about it, because perhaps the class ends at one. That's all. I'm not the one causing the clock to say grind. Got it. So it might just be a correlation, the two happening at the same time, not necessarily a cause and effect connection. You have to get that. Okay. So we can move to the last but one. Ignoring a common underlying cause. That's also a fallacy. Look at it. When you ignore, so you see that something brought about another thing, and so you think that let me use the COVID example again. People got COVID, but they didn't die. You see, They got the infection, but they didn't die because there weren't underlying conditions. So they got it, it weakened them, but a little booster for their immune system, and then they were back on track. But just in case you had underlying conditions that facilitated the COVID infection, then it might take you to the other word. Sorry if you lost someone through that. Now, the point is, people often do a diagnosis of cause and effect, but they ignore something else that may be basic and underlying. It is a contribution to the effect. It contributes to the effect. You see that? But they don't bring that up. They just see the surface issue and say COVID has killed him. But others got COVID. They didn't die. So it is COVID mixed with something else that you haven't brought out into the light. You're only dealing with the surface matters. That is when we say that you have ignored something else that is common to all the COVID deaths that we saw. Either the person had a lung issue, sickle cell, or kidney something, asthmatic condition. So the COVID comes to stimulate that condition and then facilitates the transitioning to the other world. Okay, that is what we are pointing out. First, we saw post hoc ergo propter hoc. Then we saw confusing cause with effect. Then we dealt with confusing a correlation to mean causal connection. And I've just showed you where you are ignoring or overlooking something else that is common to the cause and effect relation you are seeing. Okay, let's do one example for that one too. Then we can close. Good job. Who will read that for me? Let me get Prince. I think Prince's hand was up. So Prince, you can read ignoring a common underlying cause for me. It's down there.
Overlooking or ignoring a common underlying cause. My roommates both have laptops and they both got A's in their UG's RC 150. So if I want to get an A in this course, I should get a laptop as soon as possible.
Hey, then laptop sellers children will not feel that cause. Can you see what the fallacy is? Yes, the laptop that the two folks had may have facilitated. They are getting recordings, they are accessing content, sending, you know, this course is done solely online, like I told you on main campus. So maybe accessing assignment, going online for live sessions, what have you. Having your own laptop may help. You don't go and use someone else's own, then plagiarism, you do the assignment, then the person will copy yours a little and stuff like that. If you have yours, it may facilitate that. But just having the laptop and polishing it and putting it at the top of your bookshelf every morning and say, laptop, do the do, will not bring the A. You may be overlooking something else that the two folks were doing, in addition to having the laptop, which is what? Using it to learn, not using it to watch movies or using it to watch recipes or hairstyles and dress styles. See that? If you did that, or watching football and Messi and CEO, if you are doing that, you will have the laptop and still fail. So it's important not to ignore something else that is common. I said that is the point. So the person arguing that my two roommates, both of them had their own laptops and they got an A. So I tell you, I think that I have to get a laptop. Maybe overlooking something else. You may not even own a laptop, but perhaps if you knew what they did, then you could even borrow one or share someone else's own and still tap into the important parts of that. Maybe they didn't like sleeping. Maybe they prayed together a lot. They went to the mosque together or they went to church together and prayed and held each other's hand when it mattered most. Do you know all of that? All you know is you have gone for the laptop and it is sitting on your table. In the morning, they wipe it. You wipe it with white hanky and say, laptop, do the do. That is overlooking, overlooking or ignoring a common underlying cause. The last one is genetic fallacy, and I'm sure you know it very well. So I won't waste time. From the word genesis, genesis, you accept or reject something just because of its source, just because of its genesis, its root, its origin. That's very problematic. You would then be asking, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Just because the 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 thing is coming from Nazareth, you won't even try to query and find out and open out to see. No. Or is he a Muslim? Oh, then there's that. That's very, very problematic. When you argue, accept or reject just because of this, oh, this is a Chinese product. So I don't want that one. Please look at the American one. Sir, we should accept just because it's American. You could be wrong. Oh. The product may not be durable, may not be functional here. It's a political system. You do a wholesale importation. Really? Look at UK. Do they do the democracy that America does? Mm. Are they not thriving? So why do you want to accept something just because of what? Oh, if you go to America, they do. If you go to, give me examples. I like America because that's the H. So I want to use that. But you say, oh, this is Kumasi slippers. Those who are non Ghanaian, Kumasi is a place in Ghana here where they do fine, fine local slippers. They say, oh, it's Kumasi. I don't like the Kumasi one. Give me your reasons. Tell me that this one is not durable, or this one, when it gets spoiled, I won't get spare parts to buy, or this one, the screen is too, blurry, or something like that. You are giving us, you don't say this one just came from so and so place, so I don't like it. This one, this person comes from so and so region of the nation. So that is a very weak mind. And we call it a causal fallacy because you are using the cause where the person or the thing comes from to accept or reject it. Problematic. You don't reason that way. Give us actual rational grounds. On that note, I am done. Can I take your questions if you have them? I lower all the hands. Thank you. All those who raised your hands, I saw it. I saw it. I took attendance. I won't take it against the person who didn't come, but I'll use it to check your understanding of the content. Because if you were here, I presume you have heard me engage you on that. The person who couldn't make it must engage the recording that we share. I've even shared it already from the main campus. Okay. If you don't, I'll hold you
Okay, madam.
accountable for it. Uh-huh. So I'm done. I want to finish in an hour so that you can go and do your thing. I saw Aaron's hand up. Was there a question? I
Yes,
shared today. I
please. A
didn't let you
question.
talk. Go ahead, Aaron.
Madam, please, is there a connection between the post hoc ego propter hoc and confusing cause and effect?
Yes, there is, but I don't think they overlap. Post hoc ego propter hoc is saying that something happened just before. So as soon as Aaron entered the room, the light went off. So I say, oh, Aaron, you have made the light go off. Oh, why? Is his body full of electromagnetic force or something? It's just coincidence that when he entered, then just after the light went off. You don't blame him and say that he caused the light off. That's committing post hoc ego propter hoc. Okay. But confusing cause with effect is there is a cause and there is an effect. Something has brought about something else. But the way I am arguing, I am making it look as if it is the effect rather that brings about the cause. So I'm saying that I am not going to scratch my hair again because I don't want to get lice in my hair. Do you know lice? Do you know it? Lice. I am
Yes,
not going
please.
to scratch. It is when you get the lice that they do they eat or bite or something. Something goes on. They eat or bite your hair, and that the end of that it itches you. It is the lice that cause the itching. See that? So if you say me, I'm not going to scratch my hair again because I don't want to get lice in my hair, then we laugh at you. You have turned the thing upside down. That is when we say you're confusing the cause with the effect. So there is a causal connection, but then we have turned it upside down. That is confusing cause with effect. For post hoc ergo propter hoc, there is no causal connection at all. Nothing has brought about the other. It's just a mere coincidence of one happening before the other. And yet, people want to accuse the one that happened before as being a cause. Okay, that's the explanation. Asher, if you don't talk, then you know you. So I give you 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, madam. Madam, I wanted to ask, like the example you gave about like the laptop and the students getting an A, is
Yes,
it under
yes,
ignoring a common underlying cause?
yes, sir. I think so. So I project
Uh,
it for you. I've shared the slide on your platform, but I can project it again. Yes, it is one of it. So we are saying that the speaker is ignoring something that the two people are doing. Where is it? Oh, that's the example on your screen now. The second one. He's overlooking something else that is causing the ace. All he's emphasizing is the fact that they have laptops, but there might be something in addition to having the laptop that is bringing about the ace. That is the people wake up 4 a.m. every day and revise the content with the laptop. That one, the speaker didn't add it. You see that? All he knows is, hey, the two of them got laptops and they go A. So me too, I'm going to get a laptop. You can go and get a laptop. If you don't add the other condition that together with having the laptop cause the A's for them, you won't get the A even with the laptop. That is what we are pointing out to tell the person that you are ignoring something else that is common to those two people you saw having the laptop. I hope that helps.
so, madam, it means that the correlation, something like the correlation of fallacy is the one like that one. There is no relationship at all between the cause and effect,
There is no
but
relationship. Exactly. There is no
for this
relationship.
one there is, but at least
This one there
indirectly.
is. Yes, sir. This one there is, but it's not the person didn't pick everything that contributes to the effect. He just picked a partial one, and then use that as the only reason why the A's came. Very good point. It will help you, police. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Welcome, everyone. I want to end here. I wish you well tomorrow in your IA. Okay. You have to go relaxed. Your class rep wanted us to
Thank you.
end
Thank
the
you.
reschedule this one. The burden of having to do another class again is not too pleasant. So we have managed to work effectively with our ration in an hour. I want you to
Yes,
now
madam.
prepare. Yes, go and prepare very well for your eye tomorrow. I'll pray for all of you. Okay. All the best and take
Okay,
care.
madam.
Bye bye.
Thank you, madam.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.